Right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. As usual, I have with me the phenomenal leader, Mr. Sean Raiz, and we're about to talk about a couple of things today that are going to be very interesting. If you're viewing this right now, I need you to number one, hit the like button, number two, subscribe, and also number three, put it in the chat. Where are you listening in from? If you're viewing this on a replay, click or type hashtag replay, and let's put some flames in the chat. So, Sean, when you're ready, let's come out. I know we have a couple questions coming in,
Yes,
and
we
we
do.
definitely want to get to that.
Okay. Absolutely phenomenal morning. We are on IG, we are on Clubhouse, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So five platforms. That five? One, two, three, four, five, six. So this is the beautiful thing, right? When I did branded like a leader the first time, we had the Fab Five. Clubhouse hadn't, it wasn't a thing yet. Clubhouse hadn't come out yet. So I instructed everybody to do everything they could to promote themselves on the Fab Five: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Well, now we have a sixth, Clubhouse, right? So, guys, listen, tag us, like us, share us on all platforms because we are on all platforms. This is your breakfast with the brand. Go ahead, brother. How we gonna get into it this morning? What was your morning like? Tell me what your morning was like. How did you do it this morning? What was it looking like?
And my mornings are always interesting. Um, this morning, I actually rested this morning, so I didn't do too much this morning. But my mornings are I'm normally up like 4 o'clock, getting different stuff done,
Okay.
so I could be ready and present to be with everybody in the morning. But yeah, my morning has been good, no complaints. I just started off with my tea. Um, I had a very interesting mix. I had some lemons with some. I think you guys call it bay leaf in English.
Bay
Of
leaf.
course, in my country, we call it a whole different term altogether, different language. But
Okay.
that's what I had. So I had a nice mixture of that, and yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right. Very good. Very good. I've been up since 2:30. It's one of my 2:30 mornings. Phenomenal workout. Listening to something very instructional. So I'm always listening to something. This is the way to hack your performance as well, guys, and hack your education. Always stay listening to something. If you're not reading something or doing something that requires full, total focus, then you can actually listen to something at the same time that you do something. Like, so during my workout, I always listen to something that teaches me something. So that's what I was doing this morning. And we call it all around the world, right? We call it all around the world. So I'm giving you guys a little bit of a peek into my what my life looks like. So we call it all around the world. So that's push-ups, and dips, pull-ups, push-ups, and dips. Right. So I did all around the world circuit, and then I did some treadmill before I actually got ready for the call. So phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning. I'm excited. I got a lot going on today. And we're going to talk about a phenomenal topic today, which is so important in your business that we have to revisit it consistently. And I want you guys to think about this: your brand. What is your brand? So we're going to go to a break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the intersections between billion-dollar brands. Billion-dollar brands. What do they have in common? What do they do distinctively that other people do not? What do they do distinctively that other people do not? So when you begin, you can have the right information and have the right targets. So we'll be back in a couple minutes. Let's go pay some bills. Junior, we'll be right back. the reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. That's Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I was like, what's going on? Are we on? Yes, we're on. Okay, so listen, we got Thomas Taylor III on IG. We got Latricia Harris on IG. We have Kimberly Fallis on IG and Motivational Spirit Purific as well. So we got some people on IG. We got some people on Breakfast with the Brand on Clubhouse, and we've got some people here. So go ahead. Let's talk about it. What are the intersections that are common between billion-dollar brands? And when I talk about billion-dollar brands, I'm not talking about the monolithic organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the monolithic.
You're referring to more. Are you referring to more like influencer brands? Is that what you're referring to?
Well, I'm talking about people, right? Because look, I said it when we began. At this time, at this crew, this intersection in our lives, in our time, this is the time when individuals are able to become corporations. Jay-Z said it best. He said, I am a businessman. He said, I'm not a businessman. I am a businessman. Right? So now as an individual, we get to conduct ourselves as businesses and make huge, huge leaps and gains, not only in our own economy. So 20 years ago, if you had a business, you were struggling, you might have made a little bit of money, your kids might have, you might have drove in a little bit better car. But now as a businessman, businesswoman, as an entrepreneur, you're able to become a mogul and have massive impact on not just your family, but your entire ecosystem. So your neighborhood and then adjoining neighborhoods, the entire world can be changed by your business and what you do with your business and your brand. So it's very important that we understand that. So yes, as we go on, we're going to be talking about that brand. you as the brand, because I teach brand you and not what you do. So when you brand you and not what you do, you're able to actually go from a 6-figure situation to a 7-figure situation to an 8-figure. So let's start at the beginning. If you have a job, and you're making 40K, you can switch your branding, change your branding as an individual and go from 40 to 60 to 80 in a relatively short amount of time. And then continue to hop, skip, and jump your way up the pay scale. That's what I'm going to say first. For the entrepreneur, for the individual with a job, they're like, oh, Sean, you're talking about billions of dollars. Listen, from ground zero, to get a job, you got to brand you, right? To get a job, just to get a job, you got to show up the right way to the interview. And then you have to articulate yourself the right way. Your resume has to look right. So that's all brand. Your references, how do other people think of you? That's your brand. And based on your branding, that will determine the job that you get and how much money that you make. Very simple. When you start your business, it's the same thing. It's your brand. How much money do you make? How many people know about you? What is the respect level and the referential level when it comes to your brand? What do people say about you? What is the experience that you provide? And if it's a phenomenal one, Junior, you're able to scale yourself. So you're able to scale yourself out of your current situation into a better one and go from 6 figures to multiple 6 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures to 9. And what we've seen recently is an individual can actually hit 10 or even 11 figures. This is huge. This is a different situation than we've ever had before.
Definitely is. Sean, everything you said makes me very curious. I'm curious to know what are some of those factors. So, what are some of the factors common between these brands that you're referring to? So, we're talking about billion-dollar brands.
Billion-dollar brands.
And just to be clear, you're not talking about the regular organization.
Nope.
So we're not talking about, and that to me means Tesla or one of these other places, right? Deloitte or something like that. We're talking about people.
Interesting that you would say Tesla. Very interesting that you would say Tesla, because Elon Musk is a part of the conversation. He's built a billion-dollar brand. And because he's built a billion-dollar brand, the organization, of course, is you understand? Their economy. So yes, they are inside of that conversation. But the reason why they're inside of that conversation is because of the individual. It's because of the individual. So everybody watching this, your business will not develop or grow, but to the point that you develop and grow. If Elon Musk didn't do specific things in his life, then he would not be able to do specific things in his business. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be possible. And we wouldn't know what Tesla was if we didn't know the individual. If the individual didn't become the individual, then we wouldn't have the car. We wouldn't have the opportunity. So you got to think about social impact and the things that we're able to change in the world around us. We all enjoy Amazon. We all enjoy Amazon Prime. We all enjoy getting things in 24 hours. We all think about the drones, right? Dropping stuff off. We're looking forward to the day, right? Thomas, I'm looking forward to Latricia, I'm looking forward to the day when you could just order something, Junior, click, and within an hour or two, the drone comes by and drops it at your door. That's amazing. And it's in the works. They're working on that right now. Now, what does that number look like when it's going to be possible? We don't know, but we do know that the phenomenal organizational brand and the aspiration comes from an individual, Jeff Bezos. And if Jeff Bezos did not become the person, then we wouldn't have the opportunity for our lives to be enhanced by the business that they build. So, what business are you building? And how will it enhance the world? And if you're watching this right now, put something in the chat, drop something in the comments, share this out because this is something that you need to know. It's very interesting because the audience and the reach, this is where people need to be right now. This is where people need to be in the morning, learning about how to build their business, learning how to build their brand. Thomas remembers we did something called the Alien Call at 4:00 in the morning for leaders who were a little bit out of this world, right? For people who were really upwardly mobile and wanted to build their business and build their phenomenal brand. There's never been a day like today. There's never been opportunity like there is now.
Sean, what would you say are the top 3 to 5 characteristics that billion-dollar brands have in common?
3 to 5 things that billion-dollar brands. Well, I've studied this for a long time. The 7 prerequisites to success, pathways to paramount performance. My very first book was a correlation of successful traits. A correlation of successful traits of entrepreneurs. And at that time, Oprah Winfrey was a billionaire. And she still is now. And one of the things that Oprah Winfrey says, and I want, if you guys have your pens, take note. One of the things that Oprah Winfrey makes sure that she does is she rests. She rests. So we live in a highly eclectic, electric, and activation-oriented world where we have to be doing something all of the time. And we're constantly and largely distracted. People are distracted in their sleep. People can't concentrate at all. But listen to this. Your body and your mind really does operate to the point in which you allow it to recalibrate, relax, and refresh. So you have to rest. We talk about a 3 a.m. club. Listen to this. I shared a video not too long ago about the neurological study of sleep deprivation and how it impacts your ability to perform. So everybody knows we're about high performance here. And a billionaire status is a high performance status. You have to perform at a high level. I was just telling an individual with the amount of information and the immersion and consistent information, the oversaturation of information leaves everybody in an attention deficit. So the real hook, the real cinch pin, the real key, the hack that CEOs have and that billionaires have is their ability to focus and concentrate. And how many of you, right, put it in the chat, how many of you start things that you never finish? How many of you have started businesses that you never finish? How many of you have started books that you never finished? How many of you have started diets that you never finished? How many of you have gone to school and started something that you never finished? So the ability to focus and concentrate, Junior, is one of those common traits. And the common trait is a symptom or a result of another common trait, which is almost all billionaires, not millionaires, but billionaires, almost all testify and swear by 7 to 8 hours of sleep, rest, actual downtime, physical downtime, where the mind doesn't wander and drift, where they're not concentrating and focusing on something. So if the brain is a muscle, just think about it. If the brain is a muscle and you're constantly using it to think, doesn't it need time to relax? You don't work out your bicep, like you don't work out your arm every single day, all day. But if you only sleep 3 hours, then what time do you give your mind to really rest? It takes about 2 to 3 hours to get into that REM state. When sleep really rejuvenates and refreshes you. And if we're heralding sleep deprivation, then only a select few of the population are really benefiting. And actually, you could say that the benefits that we enjoy as a hardworking population are governed by those who actually get to rest. Their thoughts are superior. So
Right.
they create a superior situation. So sleep and rest, which leads to the ability to focus and concentrate, are
Right,
two.
Sean. Just want to say something about that. Very important point because like most of the population sleeps 8 hours. Okay, guys. So almost everybody that you know sleeps 8 hours. Some people 10. So Sean is not saying that, hey guys, if you sleep, you'll be successful. That's not what he's saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Because most people are most people sleep 7 to 10 hours. That's just in general. So I don't want people to listen to this and think, hey, if I sleep 8 hours, I'll be successful. No, that's not what Sean is saying.
So let's go
That's
to
not
the
what Sean is saying.
let's get to the other one. I said sleep and rest, and then concentration and focus. Hey, I'm not sure. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. We got somebody else on IG. They got a long name with a lot of letters. I recognize you. I'll say Max. That's what I see. Max, maybe Mupesa. I see you. What's good? Phenomenal morning. What I am saying is that after you rest, you have to concentrate and focus. You have to. So many people are distracted by so many different things. So I was a master of this. Honestly, I had multiple browsers up on my computer at all times. 20 browsers, sometimes 40 browsers up. But watch this. You can only operate at 100% efficiency with your brain as a human being. You have 100% total operational efficiency at any time. When you bring another browser up, it's hard to hold two thoughts. As a matter of fact, it's impossible to hold two thoughts in one head at the exact same time. It's impossible. Did you know that?
I never thought about that.
Everybody on this call right now, try to think at one point hot and cold at the same time. Just the words. Hot and cold. It's not possible. It's like flipping a switch. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. You can't be thinking hot while you're thinking cold at the same time. The closest you can come to it is thinking lukewarm, which is gray. And that's the gray area that most people exist in. As a matter of fact, they exist at an even more fractured state where they have 10 to 20 conflicting browsers up in their heads at all times. They wake up, they say the kids, I gotta get them here. They say I gotta get to my job. They say I gotta try to work out. I gotta try to grab something to eat. I gotta make more money. What's going and then they're inundated with the news. What's going on in the news right now? What's going on in politics? What's going on in these different countries? What's going on in front of me? Driving. If you're in New York, traffic is terrible. So it's the person next to you doing something wrong. And then you forgot to pay a bill. And your email is going crazy at the same time, all the time. So with all of these distractions, it's a surprise and it's a blessing that anybody even makes it home at night, much let alone build a business, much let alone build a phenomenal business. You have to understand this too. 97% of businesses fail. 97%. 97% of businesses fail. How many people are failing in their health, failing in their relationships because of these inabilities to focus? Now, if you find an entity, an aberration, an outlier who's able to, under those conditions, build something, just build anything, and then build something that's phenomenal, build something that's profitable, and that returns the profits to the tune of six, multiple six, seven, multiple seven, 8, 9, and 10 figures, that's a culture that needs to be studied. That's a culture that's worthy of study. And I guarantee you that focus and concentration plays a huge part of that.
100%. In fact, I could even recall, I think it was a billionaire, might be JP Morgan, saying that one of his superpowers was actually the ability to focus on one idea for like 20 seconds. For
20.
real, like for like he said, most people cannot focus on one whole a singular thought for 20 seconds.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yes, sir. But Sean, we're due for a break. So when
All
we
right.
come back, we'll get into more of billion-dollar brands.
All right. Listen, guys, if you're on IG, ask any questions. LinkedIn, put some questions. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, questions. Clubhouse, questions, questions, questions. Let's grow.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle.
All right. Let's get to it. We also have Queen A on IG, Max on IG, Thomas Taylor. We have Latricia. We got about 6-7 people on IG. Let's go, guys. Share this out. We need to put a 0 behind that number. Share this out. Let's go. What's the next question, sir?
Well, are you done giving the characteristics? I think we got up to number 2, right?
We got up to number 2, so I'll give you another one. I've never heard a billionaire say that they wake up after 6 o'clock. I've never heard a billionaire say I sleep until 10. Never heard it. All of the billionaires, all of the personal brand billionaires, all of the billionaires that I've studied have stated almost to the quantification of early morning rise. Early morning rise by 6. No, I've never heard anyone say later than 6 o'clock. So that's a commonality. So if you sleep in, you sleep late, you might make $1 million. You might make a couple, but you probably won't, really aspire. And the reason why I use this terminology is because you need something to reach to. People don't understand how little money is $1 million. Like, people don't really understand, like, that's not a lot of money. And you won't know it until you hit it, right? You won't know it until you hit it. Most people, when you say how much money do you want to make, they'll say 90,000, 100,000, six figures. I want to make six figures. Six figures is absolutely no money, right? It's not really a lot of money at all. It won't last long. Think about your living expenses for a month. Like, you'll eat six figures in a real small amount of time, especially if you want to have any kind of quality of life. And then if you're on like $1 million, $1 million is, you spend $1, you're no longer on $1 million. You're no longer a millionaire if you spend $1. So $10 million protects 1 million. If you got 10 million, then you can probably be safe and say, I've got $1 million. This is safe. And you could work with the 9, right? And keep the 1 and maintain the 1 and maintain a specific quality of life. But if that's not the case, man, so that's the reason why I say $1 billion brand, to keep you in a state of striving, to keep you in a state of growing, to keep you in a state of reaching. Because if your targets aren't high enough, you're already there. People set low targets and then make the mistake of hitting them and thinking that they've succeeded.
Right, that's super powerful. I actually heard this concept from, I'm not sure if you know him, but his name is Mr. Tim Story. The concept of almost, most, and utmost. So
Totally.
most people exist in almost. So they almost have a brand, they almost have a business, they almost make it.
They
They
almost did.
almost made it. Yeah, they almost made it on the team. They almost did this. They almost did that. They almost launched their
Almost
book.
wrote the book. They almost finished.
Almost, almost finished. Most people exist in almost. And then you have some people that exist in the most, people who are doing the most. But you see, the most is very similar to like right now, where I am right now. If I had a balloon, helium balloon, and I released it, it would rise, but it would rise to the height of my ceiling. So the most has a ceiling.
Mm,
And your thought, your ambition, your drive, your passion, it can rise. And if you're doing the most, or if you're still in the most state, you hit a ceiling.
that's right.
But the utmost is defined as the pinnacle, where there is no ceiling, where you define the ceiling, where
Mm.
you could make your floor into another ceiling and
So
create
that's
ceilings.
exponential.
That's right. So that you would describe it as the exponential zone, exactly.
Yes,
You would describe it as the exponential zone. So the question becomes, how does one go from the almost to doing the most to becoming the utmost?
I love
And
it. The
that's
question.
into the exponential zone.
I love the question, and the answer is discipline. The core answer is discipline. I'll give you two more examples before we go to the next break. I'll give you two more examples of traits of billionaires that I've studied for long. You guys know I got 2 master's degrees. I'm in 2 doctorates, written 2 books, got 3 ready for publish this year. So I studied this. This is my life's work. My bachelor's degree is in industrial and organizational psychology, the science and motivation of high performance individuals within organizations. Every one of these individuals that have hit 10 figures comes within an organization. So this has been my life's work. I've also studied organizational development and change and the study of high performance individuals within those organizations. Now I'm in a master. Now I'm almost done. I'm in my 4th chapter of Ed D, a doctorate in education for leadership. So I've studied leaders. And I've done all of my coursework and a PhD in organizational development and change. So the study of high performance individuals and success of individuals and organizations, which are nothing more than individuals led by individuals. That's what organizations are. That's my life's work. So when I say something, it's evidence based. And discipline is the key. Now, how does discipline show up? Discipline shows up as being able to do that rest piece that we started off with. 7-8 hours of sleep, not watching Netflix while you lay down, not reading while you're in the bed, not laying there worrying and tossing and turning, but actually sleep. And then number 2, waking up early still. So somehow you get 8 hours and you still wake up early. Number 3, concentration and focus. The ability to concentrate and focus. These are all disciplines. To go to bed early is a discipline. To actually lay there and train yourself to go to sleep, that's a discipline. It takes work. It's not easy because you're constantly distracted with what shows up as things you have to tend to, right? And then waking up early, getting up early before 6 hours, before 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's a discipline. The ability to focus and concentrate. You have to train your brain not to be distracted by your email. You have to turn the phone off. That's a discipline. How many people can put their phone down for 20 minutes, let alone like 2 minutes, let alone 20? So it's focus and it's concentration and it's discipline. To hold one thought is discipline. How many people, put it in the chat if you've actually finished a book in the last 20 days. If you've not just picked up a book, bought a book, or began to read a book, but you've actually finished a book. We live in a world where people don't finish what they pick up. They don't finish what they start. They start writing a book. It's the same thing as finishing reading a book. They don't do it. It's called discipline. Meditation. That's another thing that I find common within high level and 10-figure earners. They train their brain. They train their brain to concentrate and focus through daily intentional practice. Because you're just not born with it. You're born distracted, you're born hungry, you're born crying, you're born reaching. And as an individual with the responsibilities, you're supposed to be striving. So you're thinking about what's the next best thing. But discipline, Junior, discipline, 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 I found is the crew. I'll give you one more before we go. Back to the one more discipline that is common amongst the highest volume earners and value producers on this planet. And that is that they don't spend frivolously. They don't throw away money. One of the gentlemen who I've been studying is Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett's number one rule of money is don't lose it. No matter what you invest in, the number one rule of money is don't lose money. His second rule of money is see number 1. There is no number 3. The first, if there was a number 3, it would be refer to rule number 1. The first rule of money is lose no money. Do not lose money. He still lives in the same home that he bought for $31,000. He still lives in the same home that he bought for $31,000 in the 1950s. He has not upgraded. People have upgraded their phones. So hear me out and understand what I'm saying when I say this. Broke people with no money, no net worth, a credit score of 400, have upgraded their phone more than this billionaire has upgraded his home. His home is bought and paid for in cash. Broke people with credit scores of 400 and no job lease phones. They lease their phones like people lease cars and keep themselves in perpetual debt and disempowerment through habitual, lackadaisical financial practices. If they had discipline, they would be able to amass some form of capital or discipline that would help them get to the next level. Might sound harsh, but it's true.
Yes, sir. So let's go to that quick break, Sean, and when we come back,
all right,
$1 billion brands.
Guys, think about what we just said. Put it in the comment. Put it in the chat. It's okay. Don't worry. You won't hurt our feelings. And let's grow.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. All right, we are back. We are back. We got a lot of people on IG. I think it's the thing that I just stated about discipline being needed. Hey, phenomenal morning. Yes, ma'am. All right, let's go. I see you, Queen. Angelina Transforms. Shout us out. Phenomenal morning. What's the next one, Junior? What's the next question, brother?
Let's see the next question. So we've spoken about the elements, some of the characteristics.
Some of the
and
characters.
The last one was discipline.
Yes,
discipline
sir.
of character.
How many did we give so far? How many characteristics did we put down?
I believe it was 5. About 5 of them.
The ability to rest, getting sleep. That's a common trait of a billionaire. Being able to focus and concentrate. That's a result of being able to sleep. Meditation, waking up early in the morning, having discipline, No, the discipline goes into all of them. Not spending frugally is the fifth one. Or spending frugally and not being wasteful is the fifth one. Spending frugally, not being wasteful. So this is the thing. The more money you make, the less you spend. The more money you make, the less you spend. And this is why making $1 million isn't going to help you. Because when you don't make any money and you're not used to money, as soon as you begin to make it, you begin to spend it. Trust me. I know. When you begin to make money and you haven't grown up with money, you don't understand the value of it and you don't understand the nature of it and the science of money, as soon as you get it, it's gone. Because you've never really understood the concept behind money. So another common trait of the rich, the billionaires that we're talking about, the $1 billion brands that we're talking about, is they invest. They invest. This is where it takes place. This is how it takes place. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen because you make $1 billion. Very rarely is a $1 billion check written, right? And when $1 billion check is written and distributed, it comes from someone who has had the discipline. There's that key word again. The discipline to accumulate a massive amount of capital in order to, not to save it, that's the wrong thought, but in order to make an investment. And an investment that works, not an investment that's risky. Not an investment. And this is why we tell everybody that the first and the most powerful investment that you could possibly make is in yourself. Because you know you're not going to quit on you unless you are, and then you need discipline. And a lot of people are scared to invest in themselves because they know they don't have the discipline. And this is why I tell people, yes, most people are very self-aware. They know it. They say, Sean, I'm not going to do the work. I'm going to come here. I'm going to get all this information. It's going to be fire. I'm going to come to the course. I'm going to take the whole course, and I'm not going to implement anything. I'm going to get excited. I'm going to get hyped up. I might be a part of the community for a small amount of time, but I'm not going to implement anything. I already know. And that's why as the investments get higher and higher, people's ability to make those investments gets smaller and smaller. Because as the investment grows, so does the requirement of implementation. And implementation requires discipline. And people take a self-assessment. They look at their lives. They look at their execution bank account. they look at their execution bank account and it's empty. And they're like, I can't make that investment because I'm not going to execute. I'm not going to implement.
100%. 100%. Sean, so we are sort of winding down, coming up to the last minute. Let's talk a little bit about the Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5. In fact, the Branded Like a Leader Masterclass. I know a lot of people have been looking. I think we started last week going live every day. People have heard all this phenomenal information about branding, but what's the next step? Like a lot of people ask me, what's the next step? Where do I get more? Where do I actually implement, or do I actually learn something more, something deeper? Because guys, this is for free. Don't forget that this is free. So let's talk about the masterclass and what people can expect there.
If you come to the master class, we're going to show you how to build an impenetrable fortress. Let me just say that we're in a recession right now. I'm not sure if you're aware. Maybe it's hit you. Maybe it hasn't. Hopefully it hasn't. But we're in a recession right now where money is low. People are fearful. If your money isn't right, then you're fearful. If you check your bank account 5 times a day, that's fear, right? If you have to get paid in order to pay your bills, you're going to be in a constant state of worry. And most Americans don't have $400 in their savings account. Most people are earning. So this Friday, people will get paid and they'll pay for 2020. Right now, most people are living with 3 years of debt. They're literally looking forward to getting paid on Friday to pay off things that, or put a payment on, not pay off, but put a payment towards things that they purchased in 2020. On the livedeepdive.com, I'm going to show you how to get out of that. It's a perpetual cycle of slavery where, like right now, it's 7:53. So people are going to work, they're spending money to get to work so that they can pay for something they purchased in 2020. Or if they're not in that case scenario, then they're usually in the case scenario where they have to pay this month's bills with the money that they make this month. And if something happened this month, they'd be out on the streets the next month. And that's a terrible place to be. And when the recession takes this, why I talk about discipline so much, because if you lived within your means, or what you think your means are, when things get hard, people find out they have different needs and different means, right? So people say, well, I got to go to the movies every week, and I got to I got to go out to eat every week, and I just got to do this, and I got to grab, I go to wherever they go to lunch, and they say, well, when I'm at work, I'm going to grab this for lunch, and I got to grab this for lunch, and that's 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 100. 5 days a week, $20 on lunch is $100 a day. Well, when times get hard, you realize you don't need that. Really, when times get hard, you realize you don't really need that. And that's why I always say that people have money for what they want to have money for. Think about this. People have money for what they value and what they want to have money for, but they don't have money to invest in their future because that's not what's important to them. Most people die and leave without being able to pay for their own funerals, and they leave that burden on their children. So what I'm talking to you about on this Saturday during the live deep dive during the live deep dive at 5 is to help you to break that perpetual cycle of systemic bad information and bad business practice so that you can free yourself, free the next generation, and hopefully free some more future generations of perpetual servitude. And enjoy a little bit of this freedom that's possible, because freedom is possible when you produce enough value and you position yourself, you brand yourself and you position yourself and you consistently give value. So someone asked me today, just for instance, I was going back on Facebook back and forth with somebody, and they asked me, how do you scale? How do you grow? How do you build something that's, how do you monetize? They was asking about an organic approach. And I said, that's our approach. Our approach is organic, which means when we started, we didn't have a funnel. We didn't have a list. I didn't even know social media. I didn't know social media. Somebody tried to tell me that my camera was backwards, my phone was backwards, because they couldn't read what I was writing on the whiteboard. That's how much social media I knew. I didn't know anything about it. And yet we've still been able to mass an amount that's superior and hard to come by because we gave value. We gave value. I love what Kimberly just said. Kimberly said, my mom told me people pay for what they want and beg for what they need. That's harsh. Woo. That's harsh. So that's coming from IG. Kimberly Fallon said, my mom told me people pay for what they want and beg for what they need. And being on this side of the business, I've seen it all the time. You'll give something for free. You'll give, like, this is for free, right? So this is for free. And then to come inside of a program might be 5K, 10K, 20K. And they'll come for free, have money for all the stuff they want, and then beg entry or beg to remain in a seat that they can no longer pay for. right? That's like begging for first class. You paid for coach, but you begging to get the first class when you see them start bringing out the champagne. You want to stretch your neck and see what's going on in first class, and you got first class on your wrist, or you got first class on your waist, or you got first class on your bag or on the food that you just ate for the past 2 or 3 months and years and days, right? Guys, it's a real thing. So that's what we're going to be talking about on the Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5, how to create the disciplines to lay the foundation to go from an employee situation, and you don't have to leave an employee situation if you don't want to, but to go from, let's say, 40, 50K to a six-figure situation, to a multiple six-figure situation, to a seven-figure situation, and then multiple seven and up. But let's get you guys from baseline. Let's get you from first base to second base. Let's get you from an employee situation to a situation where you're at six figures. Let's get you from six figures to multiple six figures. And then we can put our heads together and figure out how to get you to seven figures. But you've got to create the disciplines now. You've got to take the actions and take the steps that, so for instance, and I'll leave with this, Warren Buffett said the best investment that he ever made was in a speaking course. The ability to make his thoughts better known, the ability to articulate an idea, right? So find a speaking course. We have Speaking Like a Leader. So that's just one course that we have, Speaking Like a Leader, how to speak and articulate like a leader so you can get a raise or get a client or close a deal or do what I'm doing right now, which is articulate and market yourself. If you can't market, then you can't eat. And I said this when we were doing the campaign, if you can't speak, you can't eat. If you can't speak, you can't eat. If you can't orate and articulate in order to stimulate, then you can't eat. You can't generate. If you can't articulate, you can't generate. You're begging. You're working. That's why people are working, because they work because your work level has to go up if your thought level isn't up. The more you think, the less you have to do. The easier work becomes. So you want your thinking ability to, and I was speaking to somebody earlier, I said that the ability of a CEO, the highest value of a CEO is their ability to think. We're going to leave on that. The highest value of a CEO is the ability to think. That's your job. Think and then market. Think and then market. Have the idea and then let people know about it. And if you can't do that, that's why your situation is what it is. And we want to help you make it another situation. So again, livedeepdive.com. Register for the Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5 this Saturday on the livedeepdive.com. And we'll see you tomorrow. Let's grow. This has been your Breakfast with the Brand.